Hey, Cowboys Nation. Before we dive into today's topic, let's take a moment to appreciate that our Dallas Cowboys are always striving to improve, always looking for ways to get better, and ultimately to bring that Lombardi trophy back home where it belongs. If you love the Cowboys and want to stay updated on all the latest news, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Now, let's get into it. The 2024 season didn't go as planned. Injuries, inconsistent play, and some questionable coaching decisions led to a disappointing 7-10 finish.
Meanwhile, as we sit at home watching the playoffs, our division rivals, the Washington Commanders and Philadelphia Eagles, are making deep postseason runs. To make matters worse, the Commanders, yes, the Washington Commanders, are in the NFC Championship game, and they're being led by a familiar face, former Cowboys defensive coordinator Dan Quinn.
The Eagles? Well, their offense is being orchestrated by another former Cowboy, Kellen Moore. If that doesn't sting a little, I don't know what does. But let's not just wallow in frustration. Instead, let's use this as a wake-up call. Let's take a hard look at the teams still in the playoffs and what they're doing right that the Cowboys need to learn from. Jerry Jones, if you're listening, take notes. The divisional round of the playoffs showed us what real contenders look like. The Ravens versus Bills, Rams versus Eagles, Commanders versus Lions, and Chiefs versus Texans, all these games provided a masterclass in team building. Every single one of those teams has a key ingredient the Cowboys have been missing for decades. First, let's talk coaching. The Ravens and Bills are led by two of the best coaches in the league, John Harbaugh and Sean McDermott. Harbaugh has been in Baltimore since 2008, consistently keeping the Ravens in Super Bowl contention. McDermott has transformed the Bills into a powerhouse since taking over in 2017. Both have built a winning culture, something that seems to be lacking in Dallas. The Cowboys have been stuck in this cycle of mediocrity because they refuse to find an elite coach and stick with him. Meanwhile, Joe Brady, Buffalo's offensive coordinator, is one of the hottest coaching names in the league because of his adaptability and innovation. Compare that to the Cowboys' offensive struggles this season, and it's clear that creativity on offense matters. Are we really going to run it back with the same philosophy in 2025? One of the biggest takeaways from the divisional round: the best teams don't rely solely on their quarterback to win games. The Ravens and Bills are balanced, deep, and don't force their QBs to play hero ball. In fact, Josh Allen threw for just 127 yards in Buffalo's win over Baltimore. Can you imagine the Cowboys winning a playoff game with Dak Prescott throwing
for 127 yards? It's hard to picture because the roster around him hasn't been built to allow that kind of performance.
Similarly, the Eagles defeated the Rams with Jalen Hurts throwing for just 128 yards. Hurts did contribute with his legs, but the key takeaway is that Philadelphia didn't need him to throw for 300-plus yards to win. That's what good teams do. They have depth, talent, and versatility.
Then there's Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes, arguably the best quarterback in the league, didn't need to play Superman. He threw for just 177 yards in a 9-point victory. The team around him was good enough to get the job done. Meanwhile, the Cowboys have consistently put the weight of the franchise on Prescott's shoulders, expecting him to carry the team by himself in big games. The Commanders versus Lions game was the only shootout of the weekend, but even there the lesson remains the same. The quarterback with the most passing yards lost. Sure, teams sometimes have to pass more when they're trailing, but the overall point stands. Championship teams don't rely on one guy to do everything. They win as a team. One of the reasons for the Cowboys' struggles in 2024 was their lack of investment in free agency, leading to a depleted roster. However, the NFL's compensatory pick formula rewards teams that lose more high-value free agents than they sign.
According to Over the Cap, the Cowboys are projected to receive a league-high 4 compensatory draft picks, the maximum allowed by the NFL. Breakdown of the Cowboys' compensatory picks. Dallas is expected to gain 3 fifth-round picks for losing key players, Dorrance Armstrong, DE, Tyron Smith, LT, and Tyler Biadasz, C. 1 sixth-round pick for losing running back Tony Pollard in free agency. These extra draft picks provide a major boost for the Cowboys, who currently have 25 players set to hit free agency this offseason, while some of these players may be re-signed or replaced through free agency. These added picks will allow Dallas to build through the draft, a strategy the front office has relied on heavily in recent years. How many total picks do the Cowboys have?
With these compensatory selections, the Cowboys now have a total of 9 picks in the 2025 NFL Draft. First-round pick, own. Second-round pick, own. Third-round pick, own. Fifth-round pick. Compensatory for Dorrance Armstrong. Fifth-round pick. Compensatory for Tyron Smith. Fifth-round pick. Compensatory for Tyler Biadasz. Fifth-round pick, own. Sixth-round pick. Compensatory for Tony Pollard. Sixth-round pick, own. However, the team is missing their fourth-round and seventh-round picks, which were traded away in previous deals. This could make Dallas more inclined to move around in the draft to fill positional needs. These compensatory picks are crucial for a franchise that relies on the draft to find long-term talent. The Cowboys' philosophy under Jerry Jones has been to build from within, and with a new head coach coming in, these extra selections give them more flexibility to add depth and develop young players.
Looking at past drafts, Dallas has had great success finding key contributors in the later rounds. Players like Darren Bland, 5th round, Donovan Wilson, 6th round, and Tony Pollard, 4th round, all became impact starters despite being drafted outside the top rounds.
With 4 fifth-round picks, the Cowboys have a real opportunity to find future stars. The Cowboys need to rethink their approach. We can't keep expecting a handful of star players to carry the team while ignoring key areas like coaching, depth, and roster balance.
Look at the teams that are still standing. What do they have in common? Elite coaching. These teams have great head coaches who know how to win. The Cowboys need to hire the right leader, not just someone Jerry Jones can control. Deep, well-rounded.
Rosters, the best teams build depth through the draft and free agency. The Cowboys need to be more aggressive in free agency instead of just relying on their draft picks. Winning as a team, championship teams don't rely on 1 or 2 stars. They have talent across the board. The Cowboys need to stop playing
hero ball and start building a team that can win in multiple ways. Cowboys Nation, it's time for a serious conversation. The days of banking on nostalgia and hoping things magically turn around need to end. Jerry Jones needs to take a long, hard look at these playoff teams and learn from them. The Cowboys have all the resources to build a Super Bowl contender, but the front office has to be willing to make the necessary changes.
Now, I want to hear from you. What do you think the Cowboys need to do this offseason to finally break out of this cycle? Do you trust Jerry Jones to make the right moves? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget, if you
love the Cowboys and want more in-depth analysis like this, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel.
Let's keep the conversation going. Go Cowboys!